What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Let Me Get That Potograph and Let Her Rip kind of crossover, the holiday hobby special, first annual edition. I've got some other guests that we're going to be adding in here in just a moment. But as always, my name is Drew, or the DH. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in tonight for a fun and different episode than normal. It's going to be a celebration, kind of a party. I know, as you can see, if you're at least watching, Mr. Scott Rappaport, my first guest here, is definitely dressed up for the occasion. You win the award for that one, good sir. But how's it going?
It's after 5 p.m. What do you think I am? Civilized?
I know how you roll.
You know what?
Nonetheless,
the truth is, I was told this was going to be an awards show, and I'd be handing out something, and so I kind of dressed it. I even, being it's a holiday party, I even busted out the good scotch for the night, and so we're rolling with Macallan 20 this evening.
Well, there you go.
So we'll see how far into the hour we actually make it.
Well, there you go. But also joining me today from Women of the Hobby and, of course, Hobby Hotline, Sam. How's it going?
Hey, how are you? Yeah, I'm excited for tonight and to be on. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a fun show. We've also got a couple other guys joining us today. We've got a lot of guests tonight, guys. That are going to be filtering in and out throughout the show. But right now, I do want to bring in a couple of them. First up from Show Your Slabs, Corey. What's going on, man?
What's happening? I'm way underdressed. And
I'm underdressed, bro.
Is that a T-shirt?
I'm
a very good T-shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you meant was this one of the tux T-shirts? No, this is an actual tuxedo.
And do you have pants on?
Okay,
that's enough. Look, there's a lady in the room. I don't want it right. We don't have to go down that road.
On the advice of counsel, I will invoke my right to remain silent.
It's a big-time power mover. The guy, Robert De Niro, did it in Casino, where he's sitting at his desk and behind the thing and never wanted to wrinkle his pants, so I totally understand it. You're in it for the long haul.
Absolutely. And I also do want to introduce one more guest that we do have at the moment, at least. You guys know him. He's been around for quite some time. You guys know him as PackGeek, Mr. Jeff Huffer. What's up, man?
What's going on, guys? How are you doing?
How's it going?
Hey, Jeff.
I hate to brag, but I actually own 2 tuxedo T-shirts, one in black, one in white. Nice. Had I known it was a formal occasion, guys, I would have shown up much better dressed.
Well, the ultimate flex is, did you see his ice ball? It's literally a ball of ice. That's when you know you're class. That's class to another level.
Now, if I was drinking the 12-year or something lesser than that, I would just go with the regular ice from the ice maker. But I always keep a ball or two of ice for the good scotch. It doesn't water it down as nice. Yeah.
Again, out of my league. I'm doing something wrong. I'm using a branded Yeti.
Very nice.
There you go.
Very nice. Yes, absolutely. What's going on, Slab Strong, Sanderson, Tuor, and everyone else? Thanks so much for tuning in. But yeah, guys, thanks so much for joining the show tonight. I wanted to do something a little different for this episode. Especially do a live one, and it is normally our normal Let Her Rip night, so we'll be ripping into some wax here during the show and giving some stuff away to you guys out there watching the show. So definitely let yourself be known in the chat, and I'll actually put up an invite link. If you would like to call in and join the show, you are more than welcome to, as we've got a couple other people that are calling in throughout the night. But wanted to have a live show, guys, and just kind of, take a look back at the last year, because it was a crazy year in the hobby, but it was a lot of fun, at least for myself. It was one of the most fun years I've had in the hobby in a long time. And, I guess first off, we'll just start off with something easy and just to get things going. What were some moments that stood out the most to you guys in 2021? Scott, since you're dressed so well, I'm going to let you kick it off here.
So I feel like I need an envelope to open, the winner of the moment of the year kind of thing. Yeah. I think having the national back this year was a huge thing. It was really nice having it in my backyard again. which happens every couple of years, which is always a fun thing. But seeing new faces there, seeing the number of new people that have gotten into the hobby, and or maybe even rediscovered the hobby, people that that grew up collecting, and all of a sudden things went nuts during COVID, and they start hearing about all the stuff that's going on, and then they wind up getting back in. I've got friends that I grew up with that collected as kids that are back in the hobby, and it's good being able to kind of share that kind of stuff with them.
Yeah.
I think that, and I think that the new technology that's come into it this year has been huge, and Corey can probably touch on that a little bit more, but the things that we've seen, everything from new sites popping up, new ways to sell your stuff. What's and I'm drawing a blank on the name, Drew, but you've got
everything from Whatnot, collectible, card ladder. It just different ways of content creation. Across the board innovation. And then Corey will show your slabs. Coming up with something huge, which I'd love to hear his thoughts on this as well. But this year was a lot about innovation in this industry, a lot of moving forward with some pretty cool stuff.
What I would add to that, I think it was, the overall growth and maturity of the hobby behind the cards, right? The cards were the skyrocket, but as much as all these cards went, parabolic and then came back down, what didn't catch up was all the ancillary stuff, right? And now that I think this year was a huge leap in, the whatnots, the collectibles, us, a couple other, there's like stand-up display slabs. That's not so much tech, but just innovation as far as, okay, we have these cards now, what do we do with them? Like you look at, compared to other like collectible type things like coins and watches, right? You wouldn't buy a $50,000 Rolex out of a cardboard box, right? Or you wouldn't put it in a cardboard box at your house. And obviously you have safes and stuff, but and then for us, like trying to take what we were doing and just run with it has been honestly unreal. And every day you wake up and it's a new challenge. Like, so in January, we're getting ready to roll out, we're calling it the SYS Smart Display, where imagine walking up to a card show. And this is my biggest thing. I'm a person that walks, and drives my wife absolutely bonkers, but I walk into a room and it's like, okay, what can be fixed, right? Some things can't be fixed. My wife's work problems can't be fixed, but there are some things that can. And one of the things that we're doing and we're really excited about is, so imagine walking up to a card table, dealer's table, scanning a QR code, and all the prices in that display, either laid down or upright, will come up on your phone. So there's the interaction, that whole like, hey, why do you have 60 slabs in here and not one of them has a price on it? Like, we're doing the old OK Corral, who's going to pull the gun out first? And by gun, it's pull out your phone, both look at eBay, both try to get service. Meanwhile, there's no deal to be had, and 5 other people have come and left that don't, that wanted to buy or were interested in something. So that's something we're really excited about. And the other big gap I still see is like all the buying and stuff that goes on at the shows, those comps aren't recorded, right? I know it's tough, you got to vet, but with this technology and with us rolling out this, our smart display, a dealer will have an option to report that comp back to us, and it'll be all under the auspice of the display ID, right? So that's the biggest thing. Nobody wants a pair of eyes in their pocket when they're getting $5,000 for something in cash, obviously, right? That's probably why a lot of it doesn't get reported.
Well, you remember, I don't know how long you guys have all been in the hobby, but, I remember going back to the, 80s and 90s when, the Beckett price guide was king. And all of the reporting, the pricing was done by guys who were reporting sales from shows. And that was it. There was no eBay. There was no online sales, no other. So it was, dealers that, Beckett had, relationships with that were reporting sales of individual cards. And this is kind of going back to that, but using obviously not with the price guide, because comps change, by the minute sometimes, but this is using up-to-date technology to basically do that exact same thing.
Yeah. Jeff, what do you think, in terms of the tech this year and everything that's going on?
It's great. I think the more technology that enters the space, the more educated all of us collectors will be and buyers will be. So I love it. I feel like it's kind of hard to keep up with comps these days with so many different platforms. So having kind of a one-stop shop where they are able to gather all those different prices is incredibly helpful. I've been using KardLadder a lot. Mm-hmm. I'm excited those guys were bought by PSA because I feel like that will just improve their technology and their site. But I love it. I'm all for it. I try to use as much of it as I can. I just went to it's funny what Corey was saying. It's spot on. I went to a show a couple weeks ago, and of course you come across tables where nothing is marked. And so everybody, it's like who can get to the comp first, and terrible cell phone signals. So it's kind of a nightmare when it should be simple.
Yes.
And I think, I'm happy technology is coming into the hobby because I feel like for the longest time, we're kind of devoid of real technology or at least cutting edge technology. So it's good to see, man. I think it's a welcome change.
No, absolutely. And shout out to KardLadder, who are sponsors of tonight's show with Letter Rip, which, guys, tonight we are opening up 2 boxes, Topps Chrome MLS Sapphire and Topps Chrome Black, which I'm actually going to start going into the Topps Chrome Black here in just a moment while we're going through the discussion. But Sam, your thoughts on everything?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the ease of technology has made it, as everyone said, easier to check comps in show and in real time. And I think too, like the other factor of having it all kind of on one platform being recorded is looking at like the different analytics and trends over time of the market and being able to see that and what cards this more so maybe for like the investor type of collector, I guess, but looking to see just how those cards are performing over time compared to all your other cards that they have too. So I think that's a helpful aspect.
No, absolutely. And Corey, that's awesome. I love the feature. That's going to be a great way. I think like Scott, you had mentioned, I think that kind of is hopefully an evolution that we see in 2022 is the analytics become better, a more effective way of taking those comps and getting more comps, because the better that we can, the bigger amount of comps we can get, the better, obviously.
My only hope is that the analytics don't do to the hobby what they did to baseball.
Yeah.
So we'll hopefully they'll be a good thing and not a bad thing. But I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, real quick before we move on, shout out to Emily and everyone at Topps for tonight. I did not look at the auto yet, but I am going to rip into this pack while we get going. But Sam, what was as I'd asked earlier, what's a moment of yours at least in 2021 that stood out the most? What was one of the biggest things in 2021 for you?
Yeah, I think for me, this was like my first, I guess, like full calendar year of truly being in the hobby. So January through December. And so early on, it started off interesting. I think able to attend the Dallas show kind of at its peak. That was like the March Dallas show, which was a little bit crazy. And then just seeing how the hobby grew over time, I think was an important factor for me just to learn more about it and see kind of the rise of certain cards and the fall of others was just like a good learning opportunity, I think, for the overall year.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And so overall with Topps Black right here, we did open up first pack and Keibert Ruiz was our parallel, just a refractor out of 199. And as we get the auto, Jeff, what was, as I asked everyone else, what was one of your most memorable moments in the hobby? As our autograph here is Monte Harrison out of 150 from Topps Chrome Black, which we'll be giving this away tonight to somebody in the chat. So hang out in the chat, guys. At the end of the show, we'll be giving that out along with some other stuff. So
there's our boy Chris from Card Ladder right there. What's up, Chris? Okay, well, I think I'd be remiss to not say, the big play by Fanatics this year as a memorable and potentially completely game-changing move. Gosh, who knows what's going to end up shaking out of this, but obviously the landscape is about to change. So
hold on. You guys were talking about the ice ball being the flex. The real flex was Fanatics, stealing all the licenses away.
I imagine everyone in Fanatics, every one of them has an ice ball. So
they have.
You heard how much money they raised. They
have those hand carved like swans to put in there. They're drinking. They're not drinking 20. They're drinking the 40.
Well, real quick before we move on, we're going to add someone else in real quick, and that is someone that has made a major, major impact in the hobby this year. You've seen his art everywhere around. Just if you were at the National, you saw it everywhere. It's all over Instagram, and that is the man himself, KardKiller. What's up, man?
Yeah.
What's going on, guys and girls? Happy holidays.
Yes, happy holidays. Thanks for joining the show, man. How's everything going?
Everything is well, man. Hope everybody's doing good. I look maybe a little dark. Maybe I could pump up the lights a little, to get out of my cave.
Looking at moody.
I was going to say, what happened?
Let's see if I can.
Would you guys say the ice ball is the new Prism Gold? Is that fair to say?
It could be. I think
it's
so.
I'm thinking it's the black gold.
Well,
I think it's a little shorter print than the gold, but maybe not as desirable.
Fair enough. That's fair.
Sure. Absolutely. All right. Well, so I mean, it's been a crazy year. KardKiller, thanks so much for joining the show. I was asking everyone earlier, what it was a crazy 2021, but what memory stuck out to you the most this year? What's something from 2021 that you'll take away from the hobby this year?
2021 was, first and foremost, obviously, was the National. I had never been to the big show. In my life, I had always gone to smaller shows when I was a kid up until seeing a lot of the East Coast National Show, which was in White Plains, relatively close to me. So I've been going to that for a couple of years, but nothing like Chicago this year. And meeting so many people in the industry where they had not known exactly where I was coming from, some of them, and being able to kind of sort of come out of my shell in that sense, and reintroduce the next chapter of what it is and what I do with that audience, because that's that's like my family. So it definitely stuck out as the bright star of the year for me. I had spent a few years making art all the way up until just for Chicago. So it also involved a lot of hours of work to get it ready, and then dropping it all in one weekend, really. So, one impact after the next, making a couple of sales there, a couple of important ones too for what I do with art in this hobby. And so it's got to be like I could pick off 20 instances in that weekend. But it all revolved. It all came in that one weekend. So if I could sum it all up, it would be Chicago and how important that was for everything that I do and have done up until this point.
Well, I agree. The National was probably the highlight for me, and it speaks to something else that I think is something that we're going to see a lot going forward, and we're going to see it starting in January, which I know, Sam, I know you're going to be there. I'll be there. I believe Corey, you'll probably be down there. I'm not sure about everyone else, but the Mint Collective, a brand new, that collectible eBay and IMG are putting together, these different types of shows that are not necessarily the National, but massive shows. The Dallas show, for example, has turned into an enormous show. The Chantilly show up in Virginia has, quadrupled in size. A lot of these localized shows are becoming a lot bigger, and you're also getting these special events like the Mint Collective that Collectible and them are putting on. That's, you know, a completely different type of thing, but at the same time, it's got the card show aspect to it. There's going to be, you know, a card show there. It's going to be a ton of wheeling and dealing going on, but it's also, you know, a mix of a lot of different things. So you're starting to see some innovation in the card show aspect of it as well. But I think in 2022, if you know everything remains open and everything, you know, doesn't get shut down or whatever, you know, if card shows are allowed to happen, I think you're going to see a lot more of that type of stuff across the country, and I think that's, you know, awesome for the hobby.
I see Mint Collective actually happening. I don't think they're going to shut Vegas down.
No.
You know, having the conventions and all that kind of stuff is too critical for their economy. Consumer Electronics Show is still going on, and that is significantly larger than the Mint Collective as far as number of attendees. So I can't see them shutting down a show, you know, of their size as well.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I think the Mint Collective, so we'll be there. We have a booth set up, and then, but I think, honestly, that it was a show that it kind of started, and I've gone to so many shows from Dallas to Philly to the National this year was just, we blitzed every show we could get to. And what you find out very quickly is there's a lot that are, you know, just guys like, oh, I could do this. And then you realize quickly, like, no, you can't. Like it doesn't. And people are like always shocked that like the National isn't run by like card guys. It's ran by like a place that runs shows, because that's the most important thing. The card stuff you can get. And the cool thing about the Mint is like, I felt like it started off as like, oh, they're pumping out eBay or Instagram ads, and they got a bunch of big names, and like, let's hook people in. But it all of a sudden, like they partnered with the right people. Yeah. And like, they were smart enough to know what they don't know. So they went out and like got curators and like talked to people and was like, who would you like to see at the show? They kind of put like a filter on who could apply to a table. I don't even really think there was a filter. I just think they wanted to get knowledge that a lot of people don't do, right? And they got a lot of people, great speakers, and, you know, more importantly, it's got that ground buzz, right? I'm in, you know, different rooms, chats, clubhouse, all types of places. And like, I think that show is going to be a mammoth. Like, it's going to be a big show, and it's going to be a don't miss too.
Oh, absolutely. Sam, you're speaking, you know, and in terms of content creation, you know, this is really big. The Mint Collective, I think, is going to do a lot for content creation in the hobby moving forward in terms of just collaboration, knowledge, and, you know, hopefully a lot of information.
Yeah, I'm also going, and I'm super excited. I think it is a little bit different than the other shows. It almost has like a conference like vibe to it in a way. There's a lot more like programming events, and as Corey was saying, like different speakers who are actually in the hobby and on the grounds and have that information. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm excited for just all the different events and things. It's kind of funny, like the card show in my mind is a little bit secondhand to the fact that there are all these other events throughout the day that are going on. So I think it'll be interesting and fun to see how it turns out.
No, that's the coolest thing to me, is that the card show is completely secondary in my mind. Like, I'm going for everything else, and the cards are kind of a bonus.
But, so they were super smart though. Like, they set it up to where they bring in like the Josh Luber and the president of the UFC,
Dana White,
but they bring them in like, hey, come in on Friday, leave on Sunday, speak for an hour in the morning. So like, odds are they're just going to be out there in the marketplace part, cruising, you know, checking everything out with their friends, and, you know, bringing people that wouldn't normally get eyes on, especially like a Dana White. Like, it's funny because I watched him do a break with a buddy of mine, Chris Costa, and because he has Big Night Entertainment, so they had like a link there. And you never know with these celebrities, and it's not their fault, but like they get set up into this stuff, and it's like, this could go terribly wrong. Like there's some guys who even play basketball, and they are checking their phone. They're like, you're just thinking, okay, this guy got paid, And when he went on with Dana, it was wild because, first of all, I was shocked. And then I thought about it. I wasn't shocked. Dana White had never seen any of his cards, like never seen a UFC card in his life, like never to approval, never to say like, oh, that like, sign it off or whatever.
Right.
But, and as it started, he's like looking on his phone and the guy's probably got a bazillion more important things to do. The second he opened that pack and he saw that first fighter on the card, Dana's eyes lit up and he did not pull away. Like he was commenting on every card.
Yeah.
I hate this guy. This guy's the next thing. And that to me was like genuine interest, and that's why I think he's going to do well at this show as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff, KardKiller, you guys and Scott, are any of y'all going to the event, Jeff?
I may be. I haven't confirmed it yet, but I'm hoping to. It's a great lineup, man. I'd love to be there, but I'm not confirmed yet.
What do you think as a content creator? Both of you can speak on this as a content creator. The idea of a show like this, one that's more focused on, as said, more of a convention type atmosphere.
KardKiller, you want to take that?
As far as this being a little bit different than the rest of him,
yeah.
I've been saying this for the last year on other shows that I envision the National to become more like a Comic-Con, and where media kind of dominates and everything, and the cards are just like the backdrop. I think that this is a push in that direction. I'd love to go. I actually have, been planning to go. It's not 100% set in stone, but, like if you see me like this here over in Vegas, you kind of know that I'm advocating for sports cards and, and elements like Comic-Con coming together. So it's definitely something I want to attend. I think it's the step in the right direction because just so much innovation creates good competition, and then the best will survive and the hobby will thrive. So I think that that's what, this is the beginning of that. I mean, the National is also the beginning of that itself because it's getting so big. But this is where I think so much networking is about to happen.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to miss it. I have art to deliver. Don't show that to anybody else. That's all you can do.
Love it. Well, I'd like to extend the offer. So at our table, we have a booth. I'm dedicating a wall of it to, I've been reaching out to different artists that either have done Topps Project 2020 or they maybe not as well known. Because I saw all these paintings, right? And all these, a Jordan replica card or something and a cool spin on it. And I thought, and it actually, I can show you this picture. We did this for Blake Jameson.
Nice.
The Baltimore News. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So the owner of that card, I'm 6 foot, I'm 6'1". So he commissioned Blake to paint and the tag is a painting. It's all on a canvas, right? It's all on an inch thick canvas. We built the giant slab for it, covered it in museum grade glass. And it got me thinking, like, that's kind of what needs to happen with these artists to either stand out among another one or just to get the art into, because there's, we're in the display business, right? But there's guys that you're not going to reach. I'm not going to get a Michael, a Jordan PSA 10 owner to get that card out of a bank vault. I understand that. I wouldn't recommend that. I know that. But it's a way for artists to also make money, and so the guy says, here's my card. I want a 4 foot, 5 foot, 6 foot, replica of the card. So then what we do is build the slab or the frame. But like KardKiller, I would love to give you some space on the wall. We're dedicating a whole wall. I think we have 4 artists right now. A Tyson, Naomi Osaka, a Jordan, and a Mantle. But if you got anything, I mean, and if yours are all just cards, we can put them. These are all mag displays back here. We could put them in mag one touches and put them all on the wall, and just put it up for everybody to see. Because, like you said, I think that show is going to be where people are looking for that kind of like the next stuff in the hobby where it's like, okay, what do we, what's the next step of this, as far as, art.
Hey Corey, you got to try to get one of Tim Carroll's pieces out there too. That stuff is absolutely amazing.
Is he does the pieces?
Yes.
Yes, he's the one.
I was set up next to him. I shared my table with him at the National.
Yeah, we all set up. Scott, you don't remember that?
Yeah.
Scott. Oh yeah, I forgot.
You know what? I didn't get a chance to talk to Corey. I was all over the place during the National, but Tim. So you saw Tim stuff.
Jared's thumb?
No, I was there. I spent a lot of time with Tim, but the other clients and stuff that I had around the room, I was all over the place. His stuff would look great.
It would,
in that setting.
It would, and that's awesome. I can't wait to see that booth. But real quick, guys, before we move on, I do want to thank once again Tops for the boxes for tonight's Letter Rip. And the other one we are ripping tonight is Tops Chrome MLS Sapphire. So I'm going to rip into that, and we'll show some of the bigger hits as we keep going. But, you kind of mentioned, as we move forward was one of the last things you said, as we move forward into 2022. So we'll start out right there. Where do you guys see the hobby going in 2022? Do you see a lot more of the same? Do you think this is a big year of change? What do you think, Scott?
I think it could go either way. I think we're going to be in an interesting year, knowing that Topps and Panini are have limited lifetime with their respective licenses. I think we are not done seeing Fanatics making moves.
No.
I think that there is a good chance that one of the, not PSA, but one of the grading companies may be acquired. And it wouldn't surprise me if Fanatics was the one that acquired it.
Sure.
I think that, like I said, I think it could be an amazing year from a product release standpoint. I think it could be a complete and utter, I don't want to use the word, but S show. Depending on what goes on and whether or not the printing delays are still here. I mean, normally we would have seen Prism Basketball about a month ago. We're still going to be waiting for that because of the delays and things like that. So we'll see what happens. But I think the higher end market, is going to stay stable. I think you may see some, disappearance in some of the lower end stuff depending on what happens. But as long as I get, this is my favorite card from 2021. This was a Topps Museum piece that Brad Utterstrom did.
Nice.
My favorite, actually, the guy who threw the greatest no-hitter in baseball history.
There you go.
Yeah, Doc Ellis. Yeah. So, speaking of art, like I said, I had to grab that off my shelf. But I'm looking forward to what my my favorite card of 2022 is going to be. And I have no idea what product it's going to come out of. I have no idea. But I know, Drew, you alluded to it earlier. I think soccer is going to make major plays. I think that's part of the reason you're opening up Sapphire.
Yes. Well, speaking of, here's a Brenner Pitch Prodigies Gold Sapphire out of MLS. But soccer, man.
Yay. Is that?
I'm with you on soccer. I'm with you on soccer big time.
I think soccer had a great 2021. Topps
came
out with some amazing products, and not just the Sapphire stuff, but my favorite soccer product of the year was Merlin.
Yes.
I caught on early with Merlin, before the prices, went through the roof and everybody started realizing that it was actually a really good product.
Well, I mean, even Topps Chrome MLS, it originally, when it came out, it was $85. Now it's up to almost $200 a box. But, I think the soccer market, while we are opening up this right here, I think that is one market that, especially as we head towards the World Cup this year, I think that's a market that's primed to see quite a bit of attention paid to it. Sam, Jeff?
I'm
Jeff.
sorry. I was just going
to
piggyback what Drew said. I'm super interested to see what happens with the World Cup since essentially since soccer cards gained any attention in the hobby. We haven't had a World Cup. So, I mean, this could really spike that market. But I've been dipping my toe a little bit in that, even though I know nothing.
This World Cup, see, my concern about this year is this World Cup could be a complete and utter dumpster fire. It's in Qatar in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
When it is hot as hell. And I want to know what Vegas has the over-under on the number of players with heat stroke. That's my betting line right there. Is what is that number? What, how many guys are going to be passing out in the middle of the pitch, because it's too hot and they don't have a chance to hydrate during the middle of the game.
Yeah.
Sam, I'm sorry, I stepped on your turn.
No problem. For 2022, I'm thinking, honestly, I have no idea, but if I were to guess, I'm thinking that the hobby in general, especially just because 2021, I think, saw so many new people getting in. I think 2022, a lot of people will be like smarter in their buys and just there will be kind of that learning and growth that they've hopefully achieved this past year. And so I think next year will be a smarter hobby, so to speak. And then personally, I'm hoping for growth, but I'm hoping for a steadier growth rather than like a up and down crazy little thing that we have. So I'm hoping that, the hobby, more people continue to get in, and then that it isn't just so like wild and crazy all the time in terms of pricing and things like that. I'm hoping kind of stabilizes a little bit.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Corey, keep it rolling with you. What do you see in 2022? Hey, that rhymes.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of consolidation, a lot more. You're going to see big plays by whales that have already happened and that will continue. But I honestly think it'll, like to what Sam said, I think it's going to be a steady growth because everybody just went through that whole roller coaster of the ups and downs, and so people kind of step back and go, okay, let's let things rise and fall as they may. But I think more of the people that are related to the collectors that are in it now are like, for instance, my wife and my cousin who works for me, they're doing a ladies' night tomorrow night. My wife has never showed interest in one card, a sports card, right? So they found their way. They're opening some leaf metal pop culture.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I've worn her down, but that was kind of on purpose. Yeah, I got
I got that nice Takashi 6'9", number 7 right there.
Oh, there you go.
I hit a Harrison Ford auto out of 6.
Emilio Estevez, 1 of 1.
Ooh,
nice.
Somebody posted. Somebody in one of the groups posted the Cheech and Chong 101 that I really want.
Oh, I want it. I'll fight you for it.
And that's what I think. That's what I think the hobby needs, right? It needs like and I don't even like. So again, my wife and my cousin are going to do like a ladies' night. It doesn't even have to be ladies, man. I don't care about any of that. Open what you like, collect what you like. And for us, like, I think you're going to see a lot of junk slab. I don't think it's a junk wax era. I do agree with the junk slab era, but I think there's a way to curtail it as opposed, like, first of all, there's different ways to sell stuff and get a little more creative. And then there's ways to hold on to stuff like what we're doing. And I know it's a shameless plug, but there's other guys out there doing it, right? I think people are going to start to enjoy their collections more as like the people that are close to the people that are like full bore in the hobby now, because at some point it was like, okay, this thing's a ride up, you come down a little bit, and it's cool to see like new people kind of take that liking to whatever it is, like Pop Century to my wife found, I don't even know where they came from. They were like Buffy the Vampire Slayer cards from like,
oh yeah,
I remember.
But like, she's looking at these cards like so intrigued because she's like seeing like, movie clips that she used to love this movie, right? And she loved like opening Star Wars, and his Topps gets more in, and like the Marvel stuff is so cool. Obviously that stuff super expensive, but like the fact that you can pull like an Iron Man, like with the I think it's Upper Deck with the diamond, you can get it. It's like an autograph from Robert Downey Jr. Like that's what I think Fanatics is ultimately going to do. It's going to bring literally the world to the hobby as opposed to the hobby going, hey, we're over here, look at us, like, trying to make headlines and make numbers, make headlines. I think Fanatics has the ability to literally take it to the hobby take the hobby to the masses and let them make the decision. Like, and especially with the split ownership, it's going to give players incentives to be involved, to sign redemptions, to do breaks, to do everything. You know what I mean?
I don't think I don't think that Fanatics is going to allow redemptions. I think they've got enough in with these players that, they're probably going to have them sign up front. The question is, can they get the product produced with enough time, before the release date in order to have those signatures back? That's the some of the biggest problem. Sure. But I feel bad for all the people that have been buying all these LaMelo Ball redemptions and.
Well, he just signed, so a lot of his stuff is starting to come back.
Okay, I had concerns. I had concerns about it.
A new product just came out with stickers and on card when Recon came out, so it's looking like he did just have a signing when it comes to that. But real quick, just wanted to show some of the stuff from the Topps Chrome Sapphire box, so you guys can see a couple of the parallels here. We'll put a beautiful recap up a little bit later. We did get one of the Ricardo Pepis, the pitch prodigies, which he is going to be on the national team and one of the bigger up and comers. And we actually did get an autograph of Poku, who's another pretty solid up and coming goalie as well. And then, as I said, a gold Brenner out of 50. So nice, beautiful sapphire box. Once again, thanks to one of our sponsors for Letter Rip Topps. And shout out especially to Emily, who will be coming on the show here in January. And also, guys, I did want to point out that if you missed Hobby Hotline Overtime yesterday, we did have Tracy Hackler on exclusively. He gave the lowdown on his move away from Panini and into the LCS arena, and partnering up with one of the greatest people in the hobby, and Jimmy Mahan. I remember when he pulled the Zion 1/1, I had him on the show, I believe, probably 3 days after it happened. And ever since I reached out to him, he's treated me like I was his best friend. He's one of the greatest guys in the industry. It's going to be interesting to see how him and Tracy go, but congratulations to Tracy. But when it comes to that, guys, I wanted to ask, since I've got a lot of people here to get opinions of, when you see someone like Tracy Hackler moving from Panini and going into the LCS model, and then an LCS model that looks like it's going to be a little bit different than an LCS, and then it's also going to be franchised. It looks like it's going to be a franchised LCS, and it looks like they're going to be doing a lot more than just an LCS, breaking and everything. I don't know if every store will be like that, who knows. But when you see Tracy abruptly leaving Panini like that and going into the LCS world with Fanatics coming in and everyone saying it's the death of LCSs, what do you think? Sam, I'll start off with you. What did you think when you heard the news of Tracy making that type of move?
Yeah, I think it was interesting. I saw it on Instagram that he was leaving Panini, but it's an interesting take to see kind of what he's getting into. Maybe it bodes confidence for continuing to keep the LCS model within the hobby. I think that's something not completely up to date on everything that Josh Luber has said, but I do believe he's kind of verified that the LCS is still going to be an integral part of the hobby, and that's something that he wants to keep. So hopefully it just means a lot more confidence in the card shop. I think that's a lot of people's one of their favorite thing to do is to go to the card shop and open cards and talk with other people there. So hopefully it bodes well for the LCS. But I think I remember Suze the other night on Hobby Hotline. She was saying previously she had worked at Topps and was saying currently if she still worked there, she would probably be looking for another job. So I think it also is a little bit of writing on the wall for Panini too, in some way.
Yeah.
I think we have to keep in mind in terms of Tracy at Panini is that he had been there almost 12 years.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is a long time. Obviously there's some stuff going on that's going to shake up the hobby, but I don't know. It could have been, he just wanted a change in scenery.
New challenges.
Like you said, is a great guy. He's got a good thing going on with the road show, and they're doing something really interesting. I don't know of any other franchised LCS that are in multiple cities. So that's a great concept. But I think Tracy, he's like a master marketer in the hobby. And I think maybe he saw an opportunity to apply that to a new group and help them grow just like he did at Panini. So I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of different ways you could read into it, but I'm not sure it, I don't know exactly what it had to do with, but I think there's a lot of different ways to look at it.
I think the franchise LCS model could be interesting. And I think part of the appeal to it, especially if he has the contacts with distributors, with the card manufacturers, the hardest thing about opening a card shop on your own is getting allocation. Mm-hmm. But if you're part of this franchise group, that may come with, the necessary allocation that, has really, been a struggle for a lot of people. And that's why you walk into a lot of these new shops that are popping up all over the place it's mostly retail product because they're picking it off from the flippers, or, they've got their own guys that are, going and waiting in line at, Walmart, or, they got a bot or two that, are scraping the websites. But hobby product has been difficult to get allocations for.
Yeah.
So if you have this franchise model and you've got, Tracy's got obviously he's got a relationship with Panini. Yeah. He's probably knows people at Topps. He probably knows people at Southern and GTS and, in All Sport and all, the different distributors. Imagine being able to, pay a franchise fee, get the branding, get the marketing, behind it, where it's a card shop in a box, and it comes with, access to all of the product that you need in order to be successful.
Right.
I think it's a genius idea. Yeah. I think Tracy is probably one of the very few people that would be able to pull something like that off.
Yeah.
The one thing that almost comes to mind ultimately franchise is the key word, but what I think and what a lot of people think is that thing when something's new and big like that, is this the beginning of the end? We're all kind of be like, where is that? Where do we take that? Because obviously they're going to be offering him any local LCS franchise the incentives to do it. How far can they take it? Every time I go into an LCS, there's a little table where they're doing auctions right through Instagram, right on YouTube, but 24/7 they're selling stuff on the internet. So maybe that's a part of it. Maybe it organizes it into a little bit of a thing where like, oh, I'm part of that group, so right off the bat I'll have a little bit more business. The more people buy into the franchise, you start to think about dilution. You start to think how long is it going to take before it's going to fizzle out. In the 90s, there was 5 local card shops in my neighborhood until there were none. And now there are back. Now there's like 3. So maybe they want to corral that. Obviously, it's good for Tracy because
the thing about franchises, and not necessarily cards, but I'm assuming they'll put something in play where each franchise will have its own geographic territory where they're not going to sell another franchise into. And it may be something where they convert existing card shops, into, these franchises. And there's going to be a certain level of freedom that they're probably going to be able to give them to do things like the auction table, the showcase, if they want to rent out showcase space, which a lot of card shops do to, any one of us could rent a showcase at a some of these card shops and, put cards in there for sale and they take a percentage. But the thing you got to remember with franchises is the branding may be the same, but I'll tell you, I love Arby's. Right. I'm not a thin guy. I'm not Drew, but I love Arby's. But my Arby's here, that's 5 minutes from my house, I will not go to. Right. Same thing with the Popeyes that's right next door to the Arby's. I won't go to it because it's not as clean. The service kind of sucks. And, it gives a bad taste in my mouth. I would rather drive to the, 2 towns over to go to that Arby's because it's cleaner. The people there are really nice. They actually get my food to me on time. So the card shop thing is going to be, is going to be very similar. I think there's going to be a lot of similarities between, what each shop looks like, what the branding is, the requirement type things, and it may be something as simple as, okay, well, you got to have these shelves with this quantity of wax until it sells out. But the rest of the shop, is all, free license, whatever you want to do with it. It could be something like this is my specialty, where they're all tied into the same point of sale system. So you can check, inventory at another location, and, there might be something in the agreement, that says, hey, you gotta, if you have a ton of something and this other shop needs it for a customer, you gotta, there's a shipping arrangement, something like that too. That idea. There's all sorts of ways that they could, do that and make it efficient and make it, because, like, Chicago, I'm in Chicago. Hockey sells very well here in Chicago. But if you go down to Alabama, hockey's not going to sell in Alabama, but football will.
Yeah.
No, it's just, football sells here too. So that was really a bad example, but
I get what you're saying.
There's all different things that, that can be done with it that could actually make it really efficient and really fun.
Corey, Corey, what do you think about all that?
I mean, as far as Tracy leaving, I mean, it's if you saw the Titanic hit the iceberg and a helicopter came down and said, "Hey, jump in, we're going to the moon." Are you going to sit there and like play the fiddle? So I think so. There's two ways it's going to go. I think their franchise thing is going to be a great, success. I don't think they're going to really. It's not going to be like the McDonald's takeover of the country. It's just because honestly, Panini, while they have a relationship with Tracy, they got way bigger fish that have been spending and have allocation and have no reason to lose it, because if the scale of allocation is worked that way, these guys have to the point of like, so we did a store build out down in Florida, in Miami's AA Mint. So these guys you go into the store and it looks like an Apple store. And it's got 1,250 slabs on the wall in 12 different panels that we built. And every corner of every panel is a QR code that shows every price, So, and if you buy one of those cards off that wall, it not only pulls it from his inventory, it pulls it off his eBay, it pulls it out of his website, like just pulls it, So I think that model, and I'm sure they have their system too, where they can sell it, that way. And there's a guy, I referred to him earlier, who did the breaks with, in UFC. I think everybody's positioning for Fanatics. And I think everybody's listening to Josh Luber. They know that they got to be the ones in that they want to make it so Fanatics says, I'm not even going to bother opening a store. I'll just buy them out, or I'll just send the stuff directly to them. So the guy in Boston, his first shop is at Patriot Place. It's literally, this guy built, it's one of the coolest stores, and I honestly didn't have anything to do with it like the other store, but he literally had like an iron workers come in and build a vault inside the store where you can see into it through like bulletproof or like thick glass. Wow. And it's open during the day, and then it's got like really cool art stuff. But his next store is Fenway. The store after that is TD Garden. So he's already positioning himself to, you know what I mean? And that's where like people, I think that's what this play is. I think Tracy, obviously sees the writing on the wall. Who wants to, and the poor guy is the nicest guy in the world. And he's just got to answer questions that he has no answers to. Because he's the face and he's out there, and it's like, what happened with you and Fanatics? Like, I don't know. We're not a license anymore. What do you want me to, people want an answer like he's on the way up. So
as someone that talks to him quite often, trust me, that wears on you after a while.
You could see it. I've met him a couple, 3-4 times, and every time it's like the guy looks like he's been run through the ringer of just all day just going on, and then to answer questions that nobody wants to answer. There's no answer there's no reason to even ask the question, but obviously, he gets the brunt of it. And I wish him luck. And Jimmy is salt of the earth, that guy's kind of fun.
With allocation with Panini in particular, you mentioned some really big stores that already have allocations and everything. David Adams is one of them. Well, they're opening up a store in conjunction with Topps. So it's going to be interesting to see how Panini reacts to their allocation with that.
We're doing a build out for that in Cooperstown.
Really? Nice.
Yeah. So I had a dinner I met Adam when we stopped up in Buffalo. I'd met him a couple times before, but we had just a small quick meeting, and he was telling me about that. And that's what I mean, right? It's not like Tracy's going to go and take the master key and say, now we get all the stuff, and nobody can get anything else. There's a lot of big fish in this pond, and I mean, Mitch from Bullpen, right? He's got now Bullpen LA, Bullpen Burbank, I'm drawing a blank. It's another place in Melrose. So he's kind of covering California.
One moment, Corey. Jeff, I know you've got to run, my friend. Thank you so much for joining the show, brother. And hope you have a great holiday and New Year, and I'll be talking to you soon.
Sorry to split early, guys. It's been great chatting with everybody, and Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah, good to see you, Jeff. Merry Christmas.
We'll see you in Vegas.
Yes.
Yes.
He committed, see?
Yes, absolutely. There you go. So, Jeff, once again, thanks, Jeff, for dropping in. So, guys, we got a little bit of time left. We do have a couple of giveaways. I'm going to be giving away the Topps Black Auto, a couple of the numbered cards, and a couple of other things from the Letter Rip Vault here to somebody in the chat here in just a little bit. So stick around for that. And also, if you do Panini NFTs, I'm going to be gifting a couple of NFTs to a couple of people as well. So stick around. We'll be doing that here in just a bit. We got about a little bit left here in the show, but wanted to let Corey continue. Sorry, I interrupted you before, brother. So
no problem. And I was just So what I was saying was, it seems like when I talked about like the consolidation, right? It's everybody pivoting and making their and as they should be, right? Nobody should be staying stagnant and going, "Oh, we made so much money, let's just keep this," because there is a change coming, and if you're not, at least planning for something, you're planning for nothing. So, and Adam, I mean, the guy is, you've never met, the guy is the nicest and funniest, just out there having a good time, but he's a very shrewd businessman, and he knows what, he's angling. Like when I talk to him, I feel like he's on a chessboard, and I'm playing checkers, and I'm like, there's something, it's just wild to see.
Well, if that store that they're opening up, Drew, that you mentioned in partnership with Topps, if that's the one in Cooperstown, that actually makes a lot of sense to partner with Topps, given that it's
it does. Yeah, it's it's Cooperstown. Yeah,
they have the MLB license. I don't think Panini's really going to look at them, kind of sideways for doing that, especially with the amount of product that they move.
Yeah, and honestly,
I don't either. It's just interesting.
Yeah, I don't think that. Like, I feel like Panini, everybody thinks of it as like the emotion that we tie to cards. Panini's running a business at the end of the day, right? And their business is to work with the people who bring them money and know better than, the David Adams and the blowouts and all that.
And that's guys. Where I think this Tracy move over to Kentucky Cards and everything is exactly what I think he's positioning himself for 3 to 5 years down the line. He jumped in right when Jimmy had already established that he was franchising out. So he had already knew kind of what the expansion was. They'd been talking for a while, as he confirmed on the Hobby Hotline interview. They'd been talking for a bit. So he knows the direction that company wants to go. And I think, let's be honest, who in this hobby outside of one or two other people, whose face do you know more than Tracy's? So, and who has more connections and who has talked to more people than Tracy Hackler? So you get him on board with a couple other people. I think it's positioning them to work quite well with Fanatics when that Fanatics move takes over, especially as Sam, you mentioned that, he plans on keeping the LCS, as part of something, in the hobby. So, it's an interesting move nonetheless, but congratulations to Tracy for that. But guys, we are going to wrap up here in just a few moments, but I did want to thank everybody for joining me. But before I let you guys go, first off, we'll end it up here. You know, it was a wild, crazy year. A lot of awesome products, a lot of everything. What was your favorite product or card from this year, Mr. Rappaport?
Well, you already saw my favorite personal card, but that was kind of a one-off that I had Brad commission for me. So that doesn't really count because it wasn't something that you could pull out of a pack. Product-wise, 2021 just came out. Mm-hmm. But I kind of want to go back to 2020 because I think it was a very underrated product when it first released, and that's Allen & Ginter Chrome.
There you go.
I have been a huge fan of Allen & Ginter, you know, since they brought it back in 2006. You know, I love the simplicity of it. I love the content. You know, it's not just baseball players. There's a whole bunch of other stuff too. And they short printed, you know, Chrome back in 2020. If I did the math right, and I don't know if Emily will ever confirm this, but I think they only printed 1,475 cases of that product.
Wow.
And it was very, very underrated. But I loved it. You know, I think I did, probably 2.5, 3 cases, myself, and just had a really fun time, you know, with the color that came out of it. Mm-hmm. Every box that I opened had either an orange or a gold, or some of them had both. Pulled some really good, you know, really nice looking autographs, even at one per case. It just, you know, there was something about that product that's like,
sure,
wow, I want them to do this again. And guess what? They did.
They did.
I'm excited.
There you go.
You know, the new 2021 just came out, so I'm really excited to.
Are you angling for your own card?
Yep, he is. He's
you know what?
He's everybody else. Yep, I see. In a tuxedo, you're gonna have the ball with the drink
with the cube. It's got to be
right.
Yeah. It's got to be
the cube. I don't know what they would call me though. I mean, I've got my hands in so many different aspects of the hobby that you know I'm not entirely sure what title they would put on. You know, sometimes they put it could be broadcaster or something like that. I mean, I'm not that. I'm just picking out
the bow tie broadcaster.
But I'm not even really a broadcaster. I show up on Drew's show every once in a while. I pontificate on the industry and but it's like hey, what do I do? What would I put on that? But it would be cool to sign do some of the autograph cards. For that I've seen a couple of them.
What a thing to say! It would be cool to be on a Topps card.
I mean, no, it would be. Look, any one of us.
Hey, Emily, while you're watching, there's 5 people right here. When you're looking for your set next year,
I designed a giant slab because I knew I'd never get into a card to be in a slab. So I was like, well, I might as well just make a big one.
Actually, I was thinking about. Speaking of beating cards, I was thinking about this this week. It would be a really fun project if we can go around, and get like courtside seats or. Seats on the field, somewhere for as many games as possible, like where we know they're shooting pictures for those cards, just to see how many we can get in the background of.
There you go.
And kind of what drew me to that was was when Steph Curry set the 3-point record, and Panini did the Panini Instant card, and Pete Pete Davidson's arm in there.
Then you had that rapper that was in the back of the job,
Young Dolph.
Mm-hmm.
But
Young Dolph,
normal guy, my buddy Joe, who manages the retail store for BBCE down in Indiana, was actually in the background of Chris Bryant's Topps Update rookie card.
Oh, that's cool.
There's so many people, right? Like, think about that. That would be awesome to go because all those people are sports fans, so they're like by and large probably card fans, and who knows? I mean. There could be a chance of a lot of people that just have nobody ever took the time to look unless it's like the Menendez brothers.
Right. I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah. Let's look at the background.
Let's see if we can pick out who the next person is that's going to murder somebody, and that way we can start stocking up on those cards.
What makes me think if I'm ever that close, I'm wearing something bright because that's otherwise you can get lost in the sauce of the
Marlins guy.
Yeah.
The lawyer from Florida that shows up at all the high-profile baseball games wearing the orange Marlins jersey. And actually, they did an Allen & Ginter card of him.
Yeah. Well, moving on, Sam, what was your favorite product?
Don't read that guy's comments. He's a troll.
What was your favorite product or card of 2021?
Yeah, this may be a bit, I guess, like biased and cliche, but I opened up a good amount of 2021 WNBA Prism, and this year it was different because it was the first year with Color Blast. I actually hit one, and I only opened up like 3 or 4 boxes, so I was pretty excited with that. So yeah, I that's honestly the product that I opened up the most this year, so I'll have to go with that one.
Nice. Sports here is it mainly sports cards?
Yeah, I do sports. I have like other small things as well, but yeah, I mainly do sports. Yeah,
that's cool. No, I think, like I said, I think there's a huge, and it's not just it's women, it's everybody. Like there's the sector of it. Like my cousin was opening the Prism women's basketball, and it's just there's so much out there and again, like the pop culture and all this stuff, like it's kind of so underrated. I'll be curious to see. So my wife and my cousin are going live tomorrow, and they're doing like a ladies' night. And they're going to rip live. Same, we're on Show Your Slabs on Instagram. If you want to pop in to do a dual live, break something, that'd be definitely fun.
Well, that's the one thing I do want to say. With Sam's show in particular, with Sam and with House of Jordan, some of the stuff that they do, it's really shown you how strong the women's market in the hobby is. Like Sam shines a spotlight on so many incredible collectors that you don't know about, and that you can get to know, and you've got to learn. You've seen Don Diego trading. She's blown up, good friend of the show. She's blown up this year through Pokemon and everything. I think it's wonderful seeing broadening the spectrum. And everyone always says, at least you see in Facebook groups, no one outside of just old guys collect, but that's not true. On Hobby Hotline, we have Birdie the Kid who will tell you the youth market is incredibly strong, stronger than ever. And you'll have someone like Sam who I'm sure will agree that at least the female aspect of card market is definitely stronger than ever before.
Well, and I think it just needs to be like, it's not even to me like male female thing. It's just collecting, right? So
right. No, I agree.
Yeah, and it's just showing, that there's other, because just, by and large, and it's just fact, there's a lot more male sports fans.
Right. Well, yes, of course.
But to show like there's so much more out there, like, again, not to harp on it, but like my wife loves Star Wars. I could care less. I don't even know if I've seen all the movies.
Oh, get him out of here, Drew. Get him out.
Yeah, and stuff. I live in this world, not up in space. But
whoops. No, I'm just kidding. No.
But no, I think like
we need the clown with the giant hook to kind of drag him out.
Oh, sorry, I didn't like Star Wars. I'll go down on that shit.
I don't like Star Wars either, so sorry.
Oh, get him out. Who can get him out?
But you've seen them. Yeah. But you've seen them all. That's the key.
Yes.
Yeah.
But to me, it's just it's not. It has nothing to do with male female. It's watching the eyes light up on one card where my eyes light up on a
something
Lamar Jackson
different.
Something, right? So it's the same effect. It's just kind of bringing the people.
Well, that's what I love with like the Pop Century, like you were talking about with your wife. I think stuff like that's amazing. Like seeing people get into the hobby, through these tertiary products and stuff. I think that's awesome, and I think those are some of the most. What's that?
People get too wrapped up in trying to push like a certain product, like
right.
You have to like Prism. I'm so like it's got to be Prism, and then you push people away that like because obviously they can't afford it. They're not going to pay something that they're not even sure they're into. So it's like all this other ancillary stuff. That's like the collecting part of it, where it kind of pushes and grows.
Yep.
So
Corey, real quick, what was your favorite card or product of the year?
I'd say the LeBron Kobe tribute card. I thought that was just very cool when it came out, and obviously everybody else did. So not
And KardKiller, what about you, my man?
I'm always gonna err on the side of how I approach things with the card art scene. So my favorite one is right there. That's Lauren Taylor's Griffey from this year's Project 70. She signed it. I got it signed at the National. So that's indicated on the back here, I guess. Nice. Yeah, right on the top there. So cool. A little bit of an extra incentive. That was actually gifted to me by Donnie B Collectibles. If he's out there in San Francisco, thanks you to Donnie B. He's like my partner in crime, and he just ended up buying 2 of them, and he's like, here's this one's for you, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Nice. Well, you know,
not to toot my own horn with the second one, but if I was going to talk about the custom cards, I had done a collaboration with another guy that I work with named Optimus Volts.
Yes,
probably the only other kind of artist in the scene that wears a mask, really. And we did a collaboration on a Ronald Acuna card, which sold at the National and then was resold. And then Acuna personally signed it afterwards, from what I heard. And at that point, you can actually get these pieces of card art slabbed by Beckett, because they'll authenticate the autograph itself, and then just a trading card, instead of what it is. I think there needs to be advancements in that. Something I see for 2022, I think that's something that I look forward to this year is a little bit more of just going through the motions and legitimizing that whole scene. But
speaking with
does it, yeah.
Well, speaking about card art, when it comes to products, my favorite product this year was Topps Chrome MLS. I loved seeing the MLS market get loved. There's so many good athletes in MLS. I think it's an incredibly underrated product. That's why I saved the Sapphire box for this show. It's one of my favorite products. So I go that route. But for cards this year, for me, it was the customs that I got. And so there's 2 customs I want to point out right now. One of them from Donnie B. That was got at the National. An incredible Jerry Rice that kind of mixes a wild card in with the old school example. And then one that I just got from Sharkbait Customs, which is an up-and-coming guy who's absolutely incredible. His work, these cuts and these angles are amazing. And he did this Dwayne Wade, knowing I'm a Heat fan. And it's kind of a take on a Prism card that has this 3D effect, as you can see. Absolutely beautiful. Some of the nicest stuff around. There you go. Right there. There's another.
That's what I was searching for. I had no idea when you guys said his name. I just saw him on Instagram. I was like, that he had it up for sale, and I just saw it pop on my screen. I was like, sold. I didn't even realize. I just thought it was so cool.
Those were some of my favorite cards this year, just because I love that. Topps Project 2020 ended up spawning a massive movement towards card art, towards just all of this other stuff you've seen Tyson Beck doing, his collaborations with some of the biggest athletes in the world now. You're seeing people like yourself, KardKiller, doing just some of the best, coolest customs around. I love that avenue of the market as someone that defines myself as a true collector, someone that likes to display stuff. Yeah, I know the hats, man. Don't even get me started. They're the coolest things in the world. I saw Brody's that you gave me at the National. It's amazing. Those things are incredible. Definitely check those out, you guys. But yeah, so those would metal?
Does it?
Corey, you asking that?
It looks like.
These are all mosaic, but they're pieces of refractor cards.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
dude, Corey, they're the coolest hats you'll ever see in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to tell you how to do your business, but sometimes you got to come out of the cave because I can't see. Okay. Yeah. So they're the pieces of cards. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all refractor pieces from football, baseball, basketball.
Why did you do the Jets? Well, because you don't feel bad cutting up the cards.
Yeah, no. Most of the cards, actually, the green comes from like the grass backgrounds of refractor cards from any sport. The Jets in particular, because this was supposed to go to someone who's a really big Jet fan, and I have yet to get it to him yet.
So, Gary V. Yeah,
that is correct. So maybe National, Maybe Vegas if he shows up.
Yes.
I made him a display for the National. Not that I took it to him, but I had it all set up, and I'm like, this is my big chance. And then I realized I don't need that. I'm not shooting somebody now. It seems like way too much work.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. All right, y'all. Well, we do have to wrap up the show. I do want to thank our sponsors of the show, of course, Tops for the boxes, and of course, Vanity Slabs, who do, as you see on the desk with the Stew slab, they do some amazing work for custom slabs, along with Vintage Breaks and Card Ladder, of course.
That's a vanity slab.
I also want to do a give. We're going to do a couple of giveaways here shortly. Oh wow, that is beautiful.
I got that signed by Bret Hart in Canada, and it's in a vanity slab.
Nice. Awesome. There you go. Vanity Slabs does some incredible work. If you want stuff like he said, you get a cool card signed, you just want it slabbed up. They do some absolutely incredible stuff. So thank you to Vanity Slabs, Vintage Breaks, and Card Ladder, along with Tops, especially Emily at Tops. But do want to give these away real quick. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through the comments, and I am going to have let's see, we've got 5 people on here. Corey or Sam, give me a number 1 through 10.
I'll do 5.
Okay, so there's 5 of us on here. Go down 25. All right, so 25th would be Brad Connell. Brad Connell, you are the winner of the giveaway here. So simply get in touch with us through social media. No problem. Just hit up the Let Me Get That Potograph social media with your address, and we'll get that sent out to you. And for the people in the chat, we're going to make it easy with the NFTs. Even if you're not watching right now and you watch later on, first 5 people that comment that they have a Panini, the first 5 people that send a message to the Let Me Get That Potograph Facebook saying that you do the Panini blockchain cards and collect NFTs, I will be gifting you an NFT straight from my collection. Not sure exactly what sport it'll be. It'll be different sports each time. So just shoot a message. First 5, get 1 for free. But wanted to thank everyone for joining the show. First off, Sam, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been fun being on, and I hope everyone has a good holiday too.
Yeah, and let everybody know where they can find your show and all of that as well.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Women of the Hobby, and then also on the podcast is on Spotify and YouTube, Apple Music as well. So those are the different locations that they can find me.
Awesome. And KardKiller, once again, my man, it's always good to see you. Thank you for joining the show. Let everybody know where they can find you at, my friend.
My pleasure, dude. Anytime. I'm mostly on Instagram at KardKiller with a K. You can find me on Twitter at the KardKiller. Sometimes I put exclusive content out there, but not too much. I also have a podcast with Peter Pac-Man, member of RPS, who will be at the Mint Collective in Vegas, doing some appearances there. And that podcast is called Outside the Wax. You can find that on most platforms that show that air podcasts. And that's it for now. Things to come, though, for sure, especially this year. It's going to be a blast, man.
Awesome. And Corey, let everybody know where they can find you, my friend.
It's Show Your Slabs on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Every one of them, just Show Your Slabs and showyourslabs.com. It's all really. And Sam, please reach out. I would like to, if you're around tomorrow, you can DM me on Instagram or DM SYS Claire. She's part of it. I know she'd love to get some more people in, and I think that's super important. So more important than my plugs. I'd rather get that done.
Yeah,
absolutely. Get that done. Get that done for sure.
And it buys me credit with my wife. So
there you go. Yeah. That's even more important. You know what I mean?
I'm not stupid. I played dumb on TV, but
hey, there you go. And Scott, let everybody know they
find me at STR Cards on Instagram, and my podcast is here in my basement. And I'm anticipating that I'll be on a 2022 Topps Allen and Ginter card. You can find it there too.
Yeah.
But
what if it's just your drink with the whiskey ball?
I'm good with that. Just kind of just like that. Or something along those lines. Actually, I got a refill. But
I was about to say,
dude, you know what I love about this? We've been doing this for an hour and 20 minutes already, and this ball is like still.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's a great thing. Big things to come in 2022. I'll have some announcements coming up in probably 30 to 45 days. So, we'll have to have another chat about that, Drew.
Oh, no, absolutely. It's going to be a big one. Once again, thanks everyone for tuning in, and all of my special guests. Thank you guys so much for joining. It's been a wonderful year in the hobby. Definitely stay tuned. If you're going to the Mint Collective, definitely check it out. We'll be doing a lot of stuff with that. You'll be able to get this episode also on audio here soon. Of course, Let Her Rip will be back next Wednesday as well. Hobby Hotline is off this Saturday, obviously being Christmas, but you can check out Hobby Hotline Overtime every Tuesday as well. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the first annual Holiday Hobby Special. And we will see you guys next week. Have a good one. Peace.